Part 1. Dream life, dream nightmare. My name is Elisent. First off, I should explain that I used to have a fine life until I went down to all too unexpected paths, and the straw finally broke the camel's back. It's all in the past. Secondly, and most significantly, a life of little dreams turned out to be a whole lot different than one I would hope it to be. I mean to say, I've seen and breathed a dimension that is hard to believe and harder to locate. Fortunately, I doubt any outlander have been dragged or nor persuaded otherwise into its regions. It not only changed me, but adjusted me to perspectives beyond my former comprehension of circumstance. Fortunately, those in my previous life had no idea, or they claim I was balmy. My development, despite the belief, is precisely why I'm here to tell you all about what I originally thought was an unnaturally cataclysmic experience. Now, I'm not so sure if it was natural or not. Depends on if the listener believes in fate. Thirdly, I am 29 years old, have blonde hair and hazel eyes, and I'm about average cell height. I was, or still am, an English lad, full of more foolish dreams than hopes. I knew that had changed for my own good later when I was being sent suspicious, clear as waking moment messages, which I literally dreamt, and the vivid didn't put much consideration to interpretive meaning. If I pointed the mystery of dreaming in general, I'd never catch any Z's rowing my boat, even gently down the dream stream. I was in a tough spot at the time, however, incredibly, only through my dreams was I given a second chance at paramount layer to go for. Is that why they say chase your dreams? Yeah, they became wondrous adventures that led me to stunning new places I didn't know could exist. New creatures of the same unimagined hitherto, and even terribly on the verge of literally inhuman warfare brewing. The most common were humanoid beings that had a smoky gray complexion and bull fangs. Vampires? Vampires that had saw too much sunlight? Not quite, because this was broad daylight, or at least I gathered, despite the illuminescence of the girl. Like an angel blotting out all other light. Meanwhile, the quote-unquote tough spot I referred to was the divorce from Daisy, which pressured rocky emotional longing stress on me as it would most blissful at the peak bloom marriages that didn't turn out to be mistakes. Honestly, can't pinpoint though if that was a spark of it, or coincidentally worsening and intensifying the timing of the fate or signs. Had the cliche guts to pin the tail on the donkey of me birth. Sometimes no amount of willpower nor faith will keep you from what's deemed your destiny in retrospect. no matter how much you might try to resist. In my case, Daisy and I just grew apart like an amoeba when my mind told me to persevere, but my heart told me instead to let go. I'm sure this sums up a lot of relationships, let alone marriage dice for lawyers to throw. Our outlooks differed increasingly till I became foolishly yet understandably devastated and apathetic. Funny now, however, that she thought I was too much the dreamer to start being the pursuer. If only she knew now I couldn't heal without telling the story that she only grounded. I was alone. From then on, slept alone. Of course, in my original, easier in some ways, just as tumultuous in others. Metaphorical, dream life had been shattered. As anyone knows, even if you do reassemble, you shine through the cracks like kintsugi. And you can't move on without letting go to what might have been, because what if it's just never as outdone as dreams? And what is one to do when even they can't compare to each other? When ones that are remembered can never be forgotten? I began keeping a healing journal, with the staggering irony of trees and air supply sacrificed for thoughts. Every night, I was assigned to write about how I felt that day. At least I could do, with or without the therapist's common sense for bucks. That made me roll my eyes. Since reflecting can be therapeutic if you let it, as much as allowing joy even set foot back in his philosophy, because then and only then was reassuring things scraping the barrel of my subconscious would unearth. When you would search for one thing and after all still joyously find something of equal or beyond value in the act of searching clues, to maybe dream about when deep unconscious sleep can be peaceful but won't even lend a gag hand about truth or evolution. Now the future is stubborn. At least to be mysterious. Ultimately, I figured if I had dreamt about jolly good things, I'd wake up and feeling hopeful and noticeably less groggy again. But for how long? Here and there were pitch black sleepless nights, nothing weird if it helps balance a good habit to spring from as much as eating the same times every day. Other nights between, however, I began having degrading, nightmarish black and white, quote, visions of rather unspeakable slow-motion, silent devastation, adding to ghastly and unnatural taboo. I shuddered to try to describe that warbooks could better. Oh, in all worse situations than my own. How selfish I've been hitherto. It always had been the drawn-out quality of some types of dreams like flipping pages, and you can't never remember the beginning, and you can never run, and you can blink and won't wake up, like a spiteful sleep paralysis demon on your chest. You think it will never end. Even more perplexing when I saw the great skinned, fanged, different-haired, various hair-colored creatures running more. Silver, lightning blue, blonde. Not all at once. What otherworldly manifestations were these? They went on for what felt like months until somewhat of what I can only deem as a blessing appeared. Like the contrast of a deep sea dark that emits a single light, be it a hungry lure or not. Until something that can only be deemed as bittersweet blessing appeared by contrast. A stunningly angelic young woman shimmered in appearance enough to make me avert my eyes at first, looking at me with calm, clear, confident eyes, amidst the slow motion, old-fashioned paper flip-style violence. This girl appearing quite relaxed, as if no carnage, nor silence, cannon burst, nor shouts of pain, nor command whatsoever existed, when I could not get away. Her figure radiated brightly like an angel in a cloud worthy of Michelangelo. Gradually I could see more of her eyes, her cheeks, her lips, her blonde hair. Briefly mistaken that she might have been nude before the light brimming cleared up. Every time I'd look around and back at her as if she had been insane to have rendered us blind herself, she looked instead rather, shall I say, determined when her glistening eyes met mine again. Come on, you'd think all this too, wouldn't you? She'd appeared and sit on her knees closer and closer to notice it. Clothes actually were modern. In one farther instance, in the same session, a black and white apron dress, closer, a white skirt and blue sweater fit for autumn. If only I could change so quick. Occasionally look around the stark white background and the flickering, brooding, rain cloud-like, pencil-drawing gray figures without alert. She was aware of what I saw too, after all, with a face without expression, while the figures themselves were beyond horrified and couldn't see us either, nor be helped hear, nor be heard. Either way, chasing and running from each other. Some human, some another species. That same one. Vampires. No. Yet also, like, with 2 arms and 2 legs, standing upright. And of average heights. After looking around on both sides of that recurring scenario, she herself had been summoned to me on purpose. She looked back at me the very same last time she showed, and finally spoke in an American, echoing, soothing, soft tone that you'd expect to accompany her beauty, as not accompany the horror show. To make the wishing for mercy figures quiver with a shockwave as if salvation had been as good as found. I am Arius. Of course I couldn't predict this, so while I stood in shock of how to respond, granted responding at all wouldn't end her serious commitment to communicate, if she weren't in control. Or especially if she was. After such long silence, what felt like both hours and minutes, Arius got to her feet and walked up to me. Most closer she looked, twice as sweet, but senses and even here indicated she wasn't human. She had donned a human form as if to say, "I come in peace on my people's behalf." She was the sort of creatures I couldn't pinpoint at the time. Even real dreams are easy to forget. Even in crucial moments, in dreams you can't remember every detail. Just ones that stick out. I will still get to the bottom of this, not just because I am still able to recall every second clearer than one wakes up, like Salvador Dali himself. In this dream realm, between my and her dimensions of her conjuring of her own, she appeared as an acrylic, quote, personification of prophecy, I could tell, and would declare me the savior of her gracious war, without a card nor spade to spare. It was too vivid to deny, especially before verbatim. Both of our brightly blazing phoenix salvations resurrected from the ashes of once deemed obliterated dream lives. She touched my cheek, and I feel an oddly specific radiant glow, as if warm as tap water. I thought it was only a mere abstract message that I meet a girl who looked just like this sweet, naive one next week or something, yet it was about to become much more complex and literal than my own imagination could cook up or digest.